Angela Rayner has apparently been waging a secret war with the royal family for years, according to a brand new book. And in this video, we're going to get into exactly what's going on. We're gonna be looking at the claims made by this book and also discussing whether or not they're really likely to be true. So, if you're ready, let's get into it. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. So the first thing that we need to do is talk about the book itself. Because obviously if we're gonna be discussing whether or not it's likely that Angela Rayner has waged a secret war against the royal family, we need to know what the book says first. The book is called Battle of Brothers, William and Harry, the inside story of a family in tumult, and it was written by Tom Bower. Now, before we go any further, I should probably point out that Tom Bower has a bit of a history of writing books which contain a lot of allegations and claims that he never really ends up providing too much evidence for. Kind of like the British version of a certain American author that you might be familiar with if you follow US politics closely. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Allegations and claims can be a good basis for an interesting story. However, you do need to take them with a grain of salt until such time as more evidence comes out and you can verify their accuracy. This is something that, of course, we'll be doing throughout this video. But just so that you're aware, Tom Bower is the sort of guy who makes bold claims without always providing loads of evidence. But back to the book. The book makes some pretty serious allegations about the relationship between Deputy Labour leader Angela Rayner and the British royal family. Now, you might remember back in March when Prince Andrew got himself into a massive amount of trouble after he suggested that young women wanting to have their photo taken with him at a charity event were being a bit, quote-unquote, forward. Apparently, Angela Rayner wrote to the palace complaining about his comments. Even though she wasn't invited to the event, she wanted to attend so that she could confront him in person. In the book, it alleges that she felt that she had to act because nobody else would. It goes on to say that she believes that her feminist credentials were questioned as a result of the comments and that she felt compelled to defend herself. The book goes on to say that she is still angry over the fact that nobody else called out the Duke of York. Now, if these claims are true, then it does make sense why Angela Rayner would want to confront him. As we mentioned earlier in the video, she is a strong advocate for women's rights and gender equality. So it would definitely make sense that she would feel compelled to defend a teenage girl from inappropriate comments by a member of the British royal family. In addition to this, the book also alleges that there is a fundamental difference in political style between Angela Rayner and the royal family. The royals prefer to operate behind the scenes and use their influence subtly rather than making big, bold statements. In contrast, Angela Rayner is very much a frontline politician who likes to make headlines. She's not afraid of speaking her mind, and she is willing to take risks in order to achieve her goals. Of course, this is all just allegations made by the author of the book. There's no hard evidence to back up the claims. But if they are true, then it does explain why there has allegedly been tension between Angela Rayner and the royals in the past. So next, let's discuss whether or not it's likely that these claims are true. Obviously, we don't have any hard evidence either way. But there are a few things that we can look at to try and form an opinion. First of all, let's look at the source of the claims. As we mentioned earlier in the video, the claims are coming from Tom Bower, who has a history of making bold claims without providing much evidence. In addition to this, Bower has a personal connection to Prince William. He was asked to write the foreword for one of William's books and was apparently in regular contact with him for several months while researching this book. So there is a possibility that Bower may be biased in favor of William and that he may have included these claims about Angela Rayner in order to make her look bad and William look good. Another thing that we need to consider is the timing of the claims. The book was published just a few weeks after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's law interview with Oprah Winfrey. This interview was one of the most explosive royal interviews ever given, and it caused a huge rift between the Sussexes and the rest of the family. It's possible that Bower was trying to capitalize on this by writing a book that would cause even more drama and controversy within the royal family. However, Despite these concerns, there are still a few reasons why the claims may be true. First of all, Angela Rayner is a high-profile politician who is not afraid of speaking her mind. This means that it's plausible that she did complain about Prince Andrew's comments. Secondly, Prince Andrew is known for being controversial, and his comments about young women being forward has already caused him a lot of trouble. It's therefore not impossible that he made inappropriate comments on other occasions as well. Finally, there is no hard evidence to the contrary. All we have is Bauer's word that these events took place. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, he has a history of making unsubstantiated claims. So overall, I think it is fair to say that we just don't have enough evidence to say whether or not these claims are true. However, I think that even if they are true, it's important to remember that this is just one account of events. We don't know Bauer's motivations for writing this book. It's possible that he is biased against Angela Rayner and that he is trying to damage her reputation. That being said, I think there's a bigger issue here. I think it's symptomatic of a wider problem in British culture, where members of the royal family are held to a different standard than the rest of us. If someone like Angela Rayner had made inappropriate comments about young women, she would likely be called out and criticized by the media. However, when a member of the royal family does it, it's brushed under the carpet and ignored. This is simply because they're not held to the same standards as us mere mortals. Ultimately, I think that this is a symptom of a wider problem in British culture and society. I think that we need to start holding people in positions of power to account, regardless of whether they're members of the royal family or not. I think that we should be demanding higher standards from those who are in the public eye, and we should be calling out inappropriate behavior when we see it. Now, you might be thinking, well, hold on a second, they're just celebrities. Why do we need to hold them to higher standards? But I think the answer is quite simple. If you're in the public eye, if you're a celebrity or a politician or a member of the royal family, then you have a responsibility to behave in a certain way. You're role modeling behavior for the rest of us, and if you're not prepared to behave appropriately, then I think it's time for you to step down and let someone else take your place. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me that members of the royal family should be held to higher standards, or do you think that we're being a bit harsh on them? As always, thank you for your support. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't already, please consider subscribing to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Special thanks to our backers who make videos like this one possible. And if you want to see your name at the end of videos, then you too can support us. The link to that is in the description. Right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.